All right, so there's somebody in particular that I want to talk about today, and I've been really high on him since we drafted him, and that's Clark Phillips III. Now, the defense was up and down on the first preseason game, but Clark Phillips really showed out. He had 4 targets, only allowed 1 catch for 23 yards. And I think he played so well that there might be conversations of, is he our next CB2 aside from AJ, okay? Because he could realistically replace Mike Hughes. And people may think, well, what about Avion? He could play outside too. He could play opposite AJ. And I do agree. However, I think if we were to put AJ into the boundary, we put Clark Phillips to the field and Avion in the nickel, I think that'll probably be our best 3 in terms of corners, because I think Clark would be best suited outside instead of inside, especially if there's somebody on the roster that can play inside just as good, if not way better than him. That would open us up to do more dime defense. And I've been really caping for this for like the last 2 years, okay? Because we have the DBs to do it. It's just Jeff Ober doesn't have a history of it. So it feels like I'm just shouting for no reason. But if we could really do dime defense where we could have AJ, Clark, Avion, Billy, Jesse, and Xavier, that's good. That's a really, really good package to have on those obvious passing downs. But let's go on and get into Clark's preseason film because it was really good. All right, so this is the first play I want to look at. Now, this is what it ends up happening is being a blitz. Okay, so first of all, I think in my opinion, this is probably some zone blitz. We're going to get everybody on this side rushing in. Okay, so you have your 5-man rush right here. And basically what we're going to get, this is what I think we're getting. We're getting a version of hot quarters or a version of like cover 6 in a sense, where we're having quarter half and we have a flat player in CJ Henderson right there. And then we also have our 2 underneath defenders in Kendall Daniels and I think this is Christian Harris, I want to say. All right. But then we have that behind a 5-man rush. Okay. And offensively, what we're going to be getting from the Broncos was what I think is double post. Okay. So you're going to get a post right here, a post right there, and you're going to get this shallow right here. And I'm not sure what this tight end, but he just ran straight and just stopped. Okay. So don't really know what he's running, but I think it was double post right here because you look at where the quarterback was trying to throw the ball and this guy ended up slipping anyways. It just paints that picture for me. But we're talking about Clark, and we're going to worry about his technique because even though this guy did fall, this was perfect technique. Okay, so he's playing field corner in this, all right, which means he's playing to the wide side. As you can see right here, CJ Henderson is playing boundary. Clark is at the field, all right. And then we also have, our safeties right here. This looks like DeMarco. I think this is, I can't even tell who this is, man, but I might be wrong. Anyways, so you're going to see right here that if once you watch him and you can tell when he starts to anticipate the break, okay? So he's getting in his back pedal. He's kind of just still playing through the quarterback from the receiver, if that makes sense. And then once that receiver gets at about 10 yards, he starts to square up with him and get ready for a break. Because once the receiver gets to 10 yards, especially in this down and distance, you're going to expect a break. Because look, he was right there at the sticks, okay? That's where he started. So once he got to the sticks, he started to get ready to break down. And he was in position to play anything in breaking or out breaking because you see his hip level is low. All right, so that means he can drive on anything that's going right here, anything that's going right there. Or if he just straight up keeps vertical, he's able to turn and run. So this is why having a low pad level as a corner is so essential because if you're playing too far upright, you're going to get beat on any of these routes, okay? So when he's this low like this, he's ready for any kind of break, all right? But unfortunately, 11 ends up falling. Okay, but you can still see that he was in position anywhere, and this was a target on him. Either way, Clark Phillips was in a very good position to play any kind of route that was coming. All right, so here is the next play right here from the Broncos. So what we're going to get a version of snag. We're going to get a corner right here. We're going to get an out, and then we're going to get this sit route right there. All right. On the backside, you're going to get your patented backside dig, and you're going to get a burst route by the running back, okay? Defensively, we are in cover 3 buzz. So basically, we're going to get DeMarco Hellams rotating to the post right here. So he's pretty much playing the middle. All right. Then we have, I think this is Sidney Brown, I want to say, but he's playing the weak side hook. Okay. So that means if there were to be any crossing route, he would take it. We essentially are playing man coverage with right here on the backside. Because remember, like, this is a field boundary defense, and to the boundary, you're typically playing more man coverage, all right? So that's naturally going to put Harold Perkins Jr. right here. He's playing curl flat, but since there's only 2 receivers, he's going to match this running back out of the backfield, all right? So now that leaves Clark Phillips playing the outside third right here, and then that's also going to have Darnay Holmes play the curl flat right here, okay? So we're right there. And then Josh Woods will be just pretty much playing the other hook curl. All right, but I want you to watch how he plays this out route, because remember, this is somewhat like cover 3 match in a sense, where if one goes out, he has to take him right now. All right, and then with this switch release right here, this guy becomes the new number 2. So Darnay Holmes is going to sit on this right here. I don't know why I did circle, but yeah, he's going to sit on this right here. And then the new number 3 is going to go vertical, which Josh Woods has to respect that, and he has to carry it through. All right, so I just want to show you how technically sound Clark Phillips is, because you've always seen this. He should have had a pick 6 in week 6 of 2024, but he decided to kneel it at the 1. I don't know why he did that. Make him pay for it, right? But watch his technique, okay? He's already like somewhat keying this out route because they ran it earlier. You're going to see the same play probably because they ran this earlier in the game. It was on the other side of the field, but they were running it to this way, if that makes sense. But he was still the one that saw the out route. So you can already tell that he has a very good mental checklist to where he saw the play before it, and he's going to be anticipating it again. And you can see the quarterback wants to throw that out route, but Clark Phillips is in a very good position, and the quarterback has to adjust last second, and he sails it. All right. And also you see this working out right here. Now I did mix it up a little bit. Josh Woods, he did wall 3 and then get to that sit route, and Darnay Holmes is the one carrying this this corner route, because I mean that's technically a switch release in my head canon, right? But either way, you still see how the coverage works out, where we already have a guy on the out route right here, and we also have Josh Woods walling 3, getting to the sit, and Darnay Holmes playing from outside leverage, walling this corner route from getting to the boundary with inside help right here. Okay, but either way, Clark is doing his job right here. And man, if he would have threw this at an accurate, if he would have threw an accurate ball, that's an interception. That's 6 all the way. And we've seen this a lot from him, and I just don't know why we were not playing him. Partially because he was hurt, but he should have gotten way more run in 2024. All right, here we go. We have the next play right here. This is another like target deep. So we're going to have just a straight up mandatory outside release by this receiver. We're going to get a crossing route by this one, and then you're going to get a post by the opposite number 1. Okay. You're going to get these chips into the flat right here, and this guy's going to just work out. And again, we're playing more of a cover 3 look. I'm just going to do it in blue at this point. But we're going to get an outside third here, a post player, and your other outside third with your 4 underneath zone guys. Okay, they're going to show a 5-man rush, and they're going to drop out Harold Perkins into this low hook right here. I guess you would call it a low hook. You're going to get Josh Woods working out this way. You're going to get Sidney Brown playing right there. DeMarco Holmes is going to work to the post, and that's pretty much it. Okay, but I want y'all to watch Clark in this instance and how he's leveraging the receiver, okay? Because this receiver is outside the numbers, okay? So if he's outside the numbers as a corner, you're probably only thinking like a handful of things. You're probably thinking go, which is what happens. You're probably thinking slant. You're probably thinking curl, maybe hitch. Now you could say comeback, but I think he's a little bit too far outside, because if you were to get a comeback, the receiver would be right here so the quarterback could throw it. Okay, because it'll be a much harder throw if he's outside the numbers. But either way, I think as a corner, if he's outside the numbers, you're only going to get a handful of routes, which would be a slant, a hitch, a curl, and a go. Okay, you also could get a big post. All right, so you can see he's sitting hard inside leverage on this receiver, and when you watch this play, you're going to see he's already pretty much turning his hips, playing the receiver to the sideline, because the sideline is his extra help. Okay, granted, he has help in the middle of the field from DeMarco Helms, but he's also using the sideline to eliminate as much space as he can. And the quarterback ends up throwing the ball, right before he got hit. Okay, and you see kind of winced for the hit, right? But you can see also, watch Clark Phillips and how he plays this. Okay, because once that ball's in the air and he sees the receiver start to turn around and try to adjust for the ball, he gets his eyes back. So now PI is out of the equation, because if he were to just still play the receiver with his head turned towards the receiver, it's going to be a PI all day. But since he see the receiver adjust to it, and now he gets his eyes back, playing through the receiver's hands and knocking the ball out, they can't really call anything. And you can see everybody on the sideline complaining for a flag, but bro, and in my opinion, I really just think that Clark is like a much stickier guy in coverage than Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes is really good in zone, but if we want to run as much man, or if we want to run more man, I think Clark Phillips would be the guy for it. Okay, so man, we need to give him some more snaps in the regular season. All right, now we're into the next play, and this is a pet peeve of mine for corners. All right, so we're going to get a motion into a jet sweep. All right, you see that these guys, they're in a YY wing set. So what we have done, we have walked Christian Harris down, so they really can't get the edge on us. And we also have CJ Henderson playing a little bit further outside. All right, but this is my gripe. When you watch this play, and by the way, Clark Phillips is right here, and you're going to see another reason why he should be in the game more. Okay, I don't get why CJ Henderson is trying to cheat inside on this type of play, especially a perimeter play. And as a corner, you always play outside in, but let's just watch it play through. So you see the jet sweep start right here. Okay, Zach Harrison misses a tackle. All right, but there's nobody else, and he's going to get these yards regardless. But let's watch CJ Henderson. As a corner, you are always supposed to play the outside shoulder to force this thing back in. But what does CJ Henderson do? He goes inside. And now there has been a crease created right here for this, because this Christian Harris is clearly engaged, can't really get off of him. And now that opens up a lane for him. I don't know what CJ Henderson was doing, because he did this in week 17 against the Rams, and that's how they got a touchdown on that screenplay. Like, just an awful run defender, if I'm being honest. So now DeMarco Hellum's the one who should be responsible for running the alley and coming down. He can't get an angle because his corner didn't want to do his freaking job. Okay, but anyways, so now we see Clark Phillips coming to the equation. Christian Harris trips him up. Good job, good effort right there. But Clark Phillips runs him down. Okay, good stuff right there. But number 26, you need to get better at your run defense, man. Like, you got to get better at pursuit in general, because I don't know what that was. I don't mean to sound like just negative, but bro, I see that way too many times out of him, and it's very annoying. Very annoying. But bottom line, focusing on the positive again, Clark Phillips is the one to run this down and prevent a touchdown. Very good play from him. Now here we go. We're going to show Clark getting his hands dirty in the run game here. So this is the Broncos' favorite run play this game, and it was power. All right, so we're going to get these guys pretty much blocking down. Okay, everybody is going to be blocking down right here. We're going to get the fullback to kick out this guy, and then we're going to get the lineman to lead up. All right, but everybody else is pretty much blocking down or basing a guy, and we're also going to get the receiver to crack. So that means for Clark, what he has to do is once he reads that crack block by the receiver, he has to quickly replace him right here to secure the edge. Okay, and he does just that. So when we watch this play through, you're going to see the guard wraps tight around the offensive line. The edge right here does a very good job of spilling this run, getting 2 for 1 right there. Christian Harris does a good job of, knocking 65 back. So now number 38 has to bounce it. It can't hit in the strong side A to B gap. All right. So once he back to Clark down, by the way, once he reaches that crack block, he's coming down hard to field, and he's making the tackle right there, and they don't get anything. Okay. Back-to-back plays of him showing a lot of effort and willingness to play the run and chase down explosive plays. Very good stuff from Clark. And now this is the last play I want to show y'all. The Broncos are going to be running a fairly simple concept. It's called Hank, okay? So we're going to get a deep curl by the number 1 receiver on this side. We're also going to get a deep curl by this one too. We're going to get a deep sit or OTB by the slot receiver. You're going to get the running back working out. You're going to get a chip and then work out. Honestly, one of my favorite plays to run in Madden, because people run zone coverage a lot and you can get free completions running this, okay? But we're going to worry about what Mr. Clark Phillips is doing right here, because he's essentially playing man coverage on this, all right? And he's playing off too. And sometimes, as corners, if you get a receiver that is really, really good at what he does, he can force you vertical to get your hips going and then snap it down and be wide open, okay? But Clark is just not one of those guys you can consistently do that on, okay? And this is the main reason why. His ass is always low, okay? So when you watch this play, he's first keying the quarterback. He's looking through the quarterback's eyes, seeing what's happening, okay? Reading his drop. Once he reads his drop, he gets his eyes back to the receiver, and he sees that the receiver's trying to push vertical, but he's already right there in phase with the receiver. So when he starts to break down, he breaks down with him, and now there's nothing he can do because he's plastered this route, okay? So, I'm not sure what needs to happen for Clark to get starter reps, But he needs to get way more reps than what he was getting in 2024. I don't like the fact he was splitting reps with Mike Hughes. Okay, especially towards the end of the year when Clark Phillips was clearly the better corner. Not to say Mike Hughes was awful, because he did have his value. Okay, and everybody's still down on him for some odd reason. Not sure why, but stuff like this is why I'm really high on Clark Phillips, especially as a field corner, because he has such great technique. He's really good in man, really good in zone. He also communicates with everybody. He can play the run. Like, I think he only went this low because of his size, man. And typically people tend to overthink corners because of their size. I know I'm a victim of it, because I wasn't really high on D'Angelo Pons, even though he's a really good corner. I just thought he was nothing but a nickel, but he's proven me wrong so far. And I was never not high on Clark Phillips, because I saw his college and I'm like, oh, he's really good. Okay, really, really freaking good. And he comes to the NFL, he was really good. He played in the nickel, he played outside. I don't know why people keep sleeping on him. Really good corner, y'all. So if you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more. And since the season is starting, I'm launching my membership stuff, and I messed up the prices last time. It's $2.99 for the first tier, $7.99 for the second tier, where you're pretty much going to be getting exclusive breakdowns that's not going to make the main channel. You also get more direct access to me and input on the video ideas. So if you're interested in that, make sure you join. So I'll see you guys later in the next video. Goodbye.